Good evening, Northern Colorado. This is Whiskey Zero Delta Delta Zulu. My name is Dave, and I am net control for tonight's Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club net. The purpose of this net is to provide a forum for announcements of amateur radio-related events, a meeting time on air. Excuse me. A meeting time on air to encourage social interaction between club members and to provide a point of contact for club executive board members. This net may be interrupted at any time for emergency or priority traffic. If you need to use the system for an emergency during the net, say break and give your call sign. We will acknowledge you and suspend the net until you advise you are clear. Is there any emergency or priority traffic before we begin? All licensed amateur radio operators with 70-centimeter privileges are encouraged to check into this net. Club membership is encouraged but not required for participation. This net will begin as a directed net and shift into an open net. There will be an opportunity for stations with equipment to sell to announce their items. Check-ins are requested for the purposes of counting the participation with no checkout required. Once all stations are checked in, Net Control will ask the club executive board members if they have any announcements, and then we'll call for announcements from other operators. Please be courteous once the formal part of the net is over and allow for a break for other stations to be part of the conversation. When checking into the net, please give your call sign slowly using the ITU phonetic alphabet. We have had 26 early check-ins. I will start by taking check-ins from club board members. Club board members who'd like to check in and have not checked in early check-ins, please call. Hearing none, we will now move on to club members. Club members who have not checked in already, please call.
Kilo 5, Bravo, Bravo, Charlie, K5, BBC Phil on the Echolink.
Good evening, Phil. Any other club members who'd like to check in, please call. Hearing none, we will now move to all stations. All stations who'd like to check into tonight's net who have not checked in already, please call. Hearing none, we'll now move on to announcements. Darren, do you have anything for tonight's net?
Good evening to Dave in the net. I have nothing for the net, but Dave, I think we had one double there trying to check in at the last minute. KC0, ZIE.
No, I'm sorry about that. Station I doubled with, please come again.
India Lima Sierra. This is Rafael. I am working in the area. Over.
Could you come again with that call sign? I think I doubled with you again.
Kilo Delta 2, India Lima Sierra. Handle here is Rafael. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Raphael, and thank you for joining us. For me, I have a couple of announcements. I would like to remind any of the Aries members listening that we are having our quarterly training this week, end this Saturday, the 30th at 9 a.m. at the Police Services Building in Fort Collins. I don't have the address in front of me, but if you give me a sec, I will look it up.
KC0, ZIE with a fill there.
Go ahead, Darren.
I posted that to the Aries website this afternoon, so there's a link there. The only thing I didn't have at the moment that I posted time, so I will be doing that shortly.
You're breaking up just a bit in there. I believe you said that you had not got the time yet up there, but you will get that added. Is that correct?
Let me try the other repeater. Hope this one works. Yeah, I posted it to the Aries site. There's a link there with the address and link to a Google map for everyone's pleasure there. The only thing I did not have was the time, which, thanks to Dave, I do now, and I'll get that updated.
Very good. And for anybody's information, that time is, or the address is 2221 South Timberline Road in Fort Collins. The other piece that I have, Steve, WB0 UWE has the list for field day. The I forgot what he said. The bulletin. And if you want a copy of that, you can email him at Sierra Bravo Alpha Bravo Charlie Oscar Kilo Echo at NCARC.net. That's November Charlie Alpha Romeo Charlie.net. Any questions?
Correction.
Yeah, go ahead with the correction, Steve.
Yeah, it's my call, WB0UWE at, you didn't note the correction earlier. It's Whiskey Bravo 0, Uniform Whiskey Echo. Thank you.
I'm sorry about that. Yeah, Whiskey Bravo 0, Uniform Whiskey Echo at November Charlie Alpha Romeo Charlie.net. Any questions? Hearing none, are there any other board members who wish to check in?
This is November 0, Echo Mike Papa, Greg, Fort Collins, member at large, no traffic.
November 7, Golf Echo Sierra, Kevin in Fort Collins, and I do have an announcement.
Kilo 0, Bravo Echo Charlie, Jim, Loveland, Vice President, no traffic.
Good evening, Greg, Jim, and Kevin. And Kevin, go ahead with your announcement.
Okay, this isn't necessarily NCARC related, but anyone is invited to our preparedness education group meeting tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. in Timnath, Poudre Fire Station number 8 in Timnath. That's off of Signal Tree Drive in Timnath. Luann, K0LAO, is giving a second half of her presentation on medications and remedies off the grid. Last month was a very interesting program, and she has more of that for us as well. So please feel free to come and join us, and we'd love to have you. Thank you very much. And there is no Simplex Net tomorrow evening because of our monthly meeting. And 7GES.
Thank you for that. Kevin, are there any questions for Kevin or for any of the NCARC board members? Hearing none, are there any other stations that have announcements for tonight's net?
late check-in.
Go ahead with the check-in.
Kilo 8 Golf Echo Echo, Jerry in Fort Collins, no traffic.
Good evening, Jerry. Thanks for checking in. Are there any other stations that have late check-ins, any announcements or requests for volunteers, anything like that?
This is November 0, November Yankee, Bart, Mobile, Greeley, late check-in.
Good evening, Bart.
November 0, Quebec X-ray, Quebec Jean in Evans.
And good evening, Jean.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Any other late check-ins before we move on?
Kilo 0, Delta Bravo Echo, Debbie in Fort Collins.
Good evening, Debbie. Any other late check-ins?
Kilo Delta 0, Yankee Victor India, Greg in Loveland.
And good evening, Greg. This is Whiskey 0, Delta Delta Zulu, net control for tonight's Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club net. We have now reached the gear swap portion of the net. Are there any stations with equipment to sell or stations looking for a piece of equipment?
GES.
Go ahead, Kevin.
Hi, my church has several rolls of 75 ohm coax, some with molded connectors, others without connectors, I believe. Some of the complete cables with connectors on both ends are large rolls, 25 to 50 foot perhaps. And I'm not absolutely sure how many we've got or how much, but they would be, some of that will be in very good shape. It's 75 ohm coax. I think a small donation to the church would be sufficient for any that you want to take there. Be in touch with me, and I'd be happy to take you over and show you what we've got. N7GES, thank you.
Thank you for that, Kevin. Is there anybody with questions about that 75 ohm coax for Kevin? Are there any other stations with equipment to sell or stations looking for a piece of equipment? Please call now. Do any stations have any special topics they'd like to discuss with the net? This is Whiskey 0, Delta Delta Zulu for the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Weekly Net. Are there any late check-ins, comments, questions, or other discussion before we close the net this evening? This concludes the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club Net. Net Control would like to thank each station for their participation. This net will occur again next Wednesday at the same time on this repeater. The repeater is now open for general use. Thanks and have a great evening. W0DDZ. This presentation was brought to you by the Northern Colorado Amateur Radio Club. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe.